Hey people, welcome to my top 25 mystery/thriller animes list. Just a quick message I would like to stress out to everyone. This is my own personal recommendation list of mystery/thriller anime I highly suggest you guys try out, and if I miss anything out, please don't take it personally or assume I hate it, because the chances are likely that I've never watched the show you are talking about, or I just have other plans to put the mentioned anime on another list that's more suitable for it. So, let's roll on this list. Zetsu no Tempest revolves around 4 characters. Hakaze, the sex candy, wearing as minimal clothing as she can through the majority of the series. Then we have Aiko, who you often see more alive than dead, as her character pretty much explains and tries to connect the past to the present through every flashback to make sense of it all. We then have our 2 main duo, Mashiro, the cool level-headed guy who dated Aika, his friend's Mahiro's sister, without him ever knowing. As for Mahiro, the punk that brings in all the action into place, he's pretty much the driving force in this series, as he seeks to avenge Aika's death with the help of Hakaze, a sorcerer who will grant his wish of finding the murderer once he brings back Hakaze. As for a quick initial thoughts on the show, first half of the show builds up a great amount of suspense and was indeed a fantastic show to simulcast on a weekly basis. Well, till the second half actually kicked in, where the show had become more of a downfall with the show's identity crisis on whether or not it wanted to remain a thriller mystery or just a plain old cliched rom-com. Also, feel free as well to hit me up with a comment if you would like me to make my Zetsu no Tempest episodic discussion videos live, if you ever want to see my thoughts on every single episode as you watch it. Then again, Romper was definitely not taken well with the fans at all whatsoever when it was airing. Although when I first watched it, I really enjoyed myself. The concept was definitely bang on, with a high school survival game made up of 15 elite high school students in their own field, with the only way out to get away with murdering a classmate, along with many rules in place to keep things fair and very interesting. Once a murder would be committed, the show would then open up a class trial to identify the murderer and ultimately decide who did it. Should they guess wrong, everyone dies except the murderer, although it is quite tricky to relate or connect with the characters, as anyone could die at any episode. It was still an enjoyable show for what it was, and most definitely needed at least 24 episodes to cover the first game as a whole. And yes, people, I highly recommend picking up the game, as it offers a heck of a lot more in terms of character development compared to what the anime tries to replicate. Chances that you've heard of Mirai Nikki are quite high. Especially Gasai Yuno has become the spitting representation of your typical yandere. As there are many mixed opinions on Fuchidari, I understand for most people it's pretty tricky to determine whether this show is worth your time or not. Personally, I enjoyed the show, as I didn't have any exceedingly high expectations for it at the time it was airing, so it was a fun ride overall. So, the plot of the story is pretty simple to follow, where the god Deus Ex Machina, I hope I pronounced that right, conducts a survival game that consists of 11 people to take part in, a battle royale. The twist on this survival game is that the contestants use these special diaries that can predict the future and possess a unique ability different from each participant, allowing some death to take place in battle. The story itself revolves around Yuki and Yuno, the crazy bitch that will kill anyone who dare threatens or saddens Yukiteru in the slightest. The only thing that alarmed me in particular was how much joy the mangaka took in displaying the destruction of a 14-year-old kid's innocence and faith in humanity. Oh yeah, did I forget to mention Yukiteru was quite the gullible, inconsistent idiot that let this bitch pretty much run the entire show? All in all, if you are looking for an unintentional funny anime with deaths flying left and right with some decent psychological thriller horror, then Fuchidari is the show to check out. Persona 4 was such a highly enjoyable anime, especially if you had the luxury of playing the game beforehand. The rundown here is that there's a midnight channel that shows the next murder victim that's going to be trapped into the television world. So we have our 4 main guys, Yu, Yosuke, Yukiko, and Chie, that go in to prevent these murders from taking place whilst battling through with these badass personas, whilst trying to get more and more answers after each kidnap. I honestly find it difficult to hold my fangirl instincts to just ignorantly place this right at the top, but I highly recommend Persona 4 if you are looking for something quite fresh that throws out all the anime cliches out the window. So please, for the love of God, watch it, and even more so, play the damn game. if you can. Tokyo Ghoul has a fantastic premise that hasn't been touched on before in anime, from what I know of. The anime portrays this confliction of discriminative hate war between ghouls and humans through the eyes of our innocent, diligent, yet gullible and terrible judge of character, Ken. The story behind Ken's involvement in all this is quite spoilerific if you haven't seen the first episode, so the best way I can put this without ruining anything is that he finds himself turned into a half-human / ghoul, which in itself gives our main character Kaneki his unique potential of being different from the rest of the ghouls out there, as well as being potentially the strongest given this advantage he has over the rest of the ghoul species. The story itself teases a lot of things that the anime will dive into much later on, whilst giving the viewer a slither into the rough, frantic lives those ghouls go through on a daily basis. Whether you either embrace your natural instincts and just binge on humans for the sheer joy and starvation, or try to hide your inner desire to devour anyone to quench your thirst for hunger whilst blending in society as your mundane human. What I particularly adore even more from Tokyo Ghoul, other than the gore action going hand on hand, is how dark the show turns out to be without sugarcoating it and simply letting the shit happen. Despite how cruel the situation is, giving the issue at hand for society impact to keep the viewer invested, so definitely try out Tokyo Ghoul if you're seeking that. Don't forget to drop a comment below giving your own personal suggestions on what you would recommend to everyone that I may have missed out on. So please like and subscribe to be notified of when the rest of the parts become available.